Salutations, everybody! My name is Alex Bucky142, and today we're going to be doing a tier list of a book series that is very dear to my heart, the Expanse series. Now, I was turned on to this series because I just finished Game of Thrones, and I really was looking for a series that was Game of Thrones except in space. I was imagining space politics, space empires, dukes, kings, queens, or senators, politicians, except in space. I wanted all the intricate world building of Westeros, except in reality and in space. That's what I wanted. A couple of cursory Reddit searches later, and I was turned on to the Expanse series. And I just bought Leviathan Vix on a whim, per se. And that's where I got turned on to the series from. So we're gonna do a tier list here. Now I'm going to assume that you've read all these books already. There's going to be heavy spoilers here, so if you don't want to be spoiled, then just don't even watch this video. Move on, read them, come back and then comment if you agree with me or not. Now, let's begin. Now, Leviathan Wakes was the first one, and I'm going to put this in C tier. Before you lynch me, I just didn't find this interesting. It lost me halfway through with the space zombies. Basically, there's a scene where the proto-molecule turns all the people home on Eros into space zombies. They're spitting blood and bile and infecting everyone, and I found that to be just the corniest thing imaginable, let me tell you. I almost put the book down and stopped reading it. I just couldn't read it. I just found it to be super corny, super boring, just uninspired in general. And as a result, I nearly put it down. I forced myself to finish the book, and then afterwards, I didn't read another book in the Expanse for about a year because I was just so turned off by it. Now, in retrospect, I think it's better because after watching the television show, it did the events of the series so much more justice than the book did. But the book still remains C tier. I don't have a desire to reread it. I don't want to reread it. I just find it to be kind of boring. And as a result, I'm going to put it in C tier. A lot of people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay. It's mediocre. And I think that the authors would say that they could have improved this. Especially there was an interview where they wished they had a Avasarala, which would have made this book so much better because the TV show added her in. It just did it, and it did her justice. Mwah. Cool. Now, book number 2. Caliban's War. This is S tier. Okay, so when I was talking about that I wanted Game of Thrones in space with the politics and the intricate world building and the lore, that's Caliban's War. Instead of focusing on the space virus, the proto-molecule, Caliban's War focuses on the geopolitics. Granted, there's only one character that I would consider to have real power, and that's Avasarala. But her scenes are by far the best in the book. Watching her flex on people and overthrowing an entire government just using press releases is just A tier writing. It's S tier writing here. Instead of focusing on just adventures, this book focuses on geopolitics. It focuses on the fallout of the proto-molecule and how it really affects how the intricate politics of the Sol system. I just found Caliban's War to be the most interesting book. I didn't find many plot holes. The conspiracy theory was really well written, and all the politics and how they all sort of weave together is just really fascinating. Avasarala is an incredibly well-written protagonist, and I found her scenes to be the best in the entire series. Just really snappy, really witty, foul-mouthed, of course. I can't say those words. Also get demonetized, but it was just a really well-written book. As a result, I'm putting Caliban's War in S tier. And I think a lot of people would agree with me. I think this is regarded as one of the better ones here. Cool. And that's one of book number 3, Abaddon's Gate. This one gets B tier to me. Cool. Abaddon's Gate shrinks the story in a way. The Calvin's War takes place across the entire solar system. Abaddon's Gate takes place just in the ring zone, or slow zone as they call it in the books. And how do I describe this? I enjoyed it for what it was, but the book was just kind of boring to me, mostly because instead of geopolitics, focused on the more interpersonal politics. And I found the main villain, Ashford, to just be really boring in this book. He's just a crazed lunatic who has a concussion and some brain damage and goes crazy. In real life, he would have been shot or just not even listened to because he's clearly a lunatic. I guess this is more of the authors talking like, oh, we're in this alien ring, but humans are always the villain. But, I just found this to be just not very compelling. Now, the show version of this completely changed the whole book. And the show version of this is just amazing because they turned Ashford from a lunatic into an actual compelling character with rationale. Reasonable rationale. Here, it's just kind of just stupid. You're in an alien, crazy universe, and the main villain is a lunatic. Okay, it's just not compelling to me. Cibola Burn suffers from the same problems. Granted, the main villain, Murtry, is a bit more compelling, but he's still an idiot. He's like, oh, I'm Hernan Cortez. We're going to hold the line. Bro, you're on an alien world. He's trying to kill you. The whole world has basically nuked itself already. You're focusing on claims, my guy. You're the security guard. Get everyone off the planet. I know what the author's trying to say here. We're in this new thing. Humanity's expanding. Expanding into the expanse. But humans are always the problem. And I get that. But the backdrop of this is just a claims battle, or just a legal battle between squatters and a mining company. That's where this thing comes from. And they somehow send Holden, who's the errand boy of the universe. I'm gonna have to go handle this. That's a horrible idea. And I guess part of the plot is just of Asarala plotting like, oh, Holden's gonna mess this up. He's gonna kill people. I'm just gonna show everybody this is just dumb. But I think that's just dumb. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. Avasarala should recognize that. It's going to happen whether she likes it or not. This could have been an opportunity for her to do some more politicking instead of trying to do a plot to show people or they're going through the gates is dumb. But she should know better than anyone that this is going to happen. Humans have a desire to explore. There's too many people on Earth, and she knows that. Most of them are going to go through the gates. That's just a reality. And her plot is dumb, and this whole book is just kind of dumb. And the main villain's dumb. Yes, it's an important book in the series in terms of the proto-molecule, but it's just not very compelling to me. Now we're going to go to the next two, and I put these two together. Battle of Zashes and Nemesis Games, these are both A tier. Now, I put these in A tier because the main villain, Marco, is super compelling. Okay, so I find that the best villains have motivations that are better than the main characters. And Marco's motivations are really clear. They're really good. His people are going to go extinct. Because they just simply cannot survive on high G planets. Or they can't even survive on 1G planets. They just cannot survive in an atmosphere. They're just completely useless in this new society. And he recognizes that. And his answer is to go Adolf Hitler and exterminate the inners. Well, not completely. He wants how to lord over them. But, he's a lunatic. He's a madman. But he's a madman with a point. He's charismatic. He's super handsome. People follow him. He's a military mastermind. He makes mistakes, But like all good villains, he has rationale that you can see his point. His point is that we're all gonna die. Our people are gonna go extinct, so let's go out swinging. Let's take this chance and let's go for it. That's what he does. And I found these books to be interesting because it goes back to the politics. Earth basically gets nuked, and then you have to deal with, oh my god, there's this lunatic, he has a massive fleet now, we're basically completely wiped out, and we have to fight back. And they go for it. Granted, I find how the setup that they just take a third of Mars' ships, well, there's a reason for that. But, I find the whole Winston Duarte plot to be kind of dumb, but I'll do that on another video, just ranting about Laconia or whatever. But, I just found these two books to be very compelling. Yeah, there's some plot holes that doesn't make it as good as Calvin's War, just because I found the whole background plot or conspiracy to be sort of nonsensical. But these two books work, they hit hard. They're sort of the apex of the series in a way, because they take the politics and they show how they're affected by the aftermath of the previous two books. And that just really goes to show that this series is at its best when it's going into the geopolitics and how all these events are affecting people. So you make the case that you need these previous two books or these two books to work, and I can understand that. I feel like this series would have been far more well served if it just focused on these politics. Cool. Now let's go to the last three. Now, okay. I'm going to say this up front. I did not like these three whatsoever. I thought they were pretty bad. Pretty bad. Some are worse than others. But let's start off with Persepolis Rising. This is C tier. My problem is that this book isn't expansive. It's not big. It's not... You might say, oh, it's not big. Yes. 95% of the book takes place on Medina Station. That's just the reality. 95% of this book, all but a handful of chapters, take place in one location. The resistance fighters again. They're just hiding away in little corners, nibbling at this small brigade. And the main villain is some idiot. It's just some idiot junior officer. And don't get me started on Winston Duarte's plan here. Oh, Armor Trejo's plan. Oh, we have to rub the stupid off of you before we do that because we don't have enough officers. Dude, in the whole Laconia thing, Medina Station is the hinge point of the entire empire. The hinge point. They should have or first thing they should have done is they should have rounded up every single belter, and brought them back home, or to shove them back out, and to staff it entirely with your people. Medina Station is the literal central point of the entire plot. The entire central point of this entire conspiracy is taking this place, and they want to rule it with belters there. Doesn't make any sense. The main villain is just an idiot. The book just gets small when it should have been big. Holden should have been the transport union president. I'm not going to start it on the whole stupidity of the transport union, but he should have been the president. He should have been the president. And the whole book should have been him marshaling together. There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books prior to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 books prior to this, sorry. Yeah, 6. And it should have been him marshaling together all the relationships that he's built. He should have been calling in favors from events from 5 books ago. This should have been him just calling in every single favor in the book, talking to people. It should have been ups and downs. They should have won a battle. They've taken down a Laconian ship, showing, yes, we can do this. And then the last chapter should have played out in the same way. Now Holden manages to unite the whole entire Sol system. People are happy. They're rah rah rah. We're gonna take out Laconia. Oh yeah, Holden. And suddenly they just get completely wiped out. And then Holden gets arrested. It ends in the same point, but it really hammers home how the horror. This whole thing should have taken place across the entire solar system. Holden should have been president, and it should have been him basically calling in every single favor, like across 6 books, and still failing. Because honestly, the best horror story is when the main characters are smart and they're competent and they still get destroyed. It should have been that. Like, there should have been a very competent Holden. He's not some errand boy. He should have been the head of this whole thing. He should have been super competent, super slick, and he still gets wiped out. That should have happened, but it didn't. So, C tier. Now, Tiamat's Wrath gets D tier. I'm sorry, this book is just stupid. I'm not going into this, but Winston, basically, the main villains turn into absolute idiots. Winston Duarte's whole thing is that he is now an immortal God Emperor. He can live forever. Why is he rushing this? Say, oh, I'm going to have to fight gods. Bro, you have, for the first time in all of human history, you're all united under one banner. For the first time ever. And you rush it. Bro, come on. He can live for thousands upon thousands of years. He should have had a cabal of people live with him for thousands of years with him. He could have waited basically indefinitely. Yes, I understand his fear. Oh man, they could come back, but they have a sort of agreement with the Dark Gods already. You don't need to rush this thing. You have a solution here. It seems to be going fine. You have your empire. Keep building ships out and study. Harness the entire economic and scientific might of an entire species. And use it to try and figure this out scientifically. Instead, you rush into it with this whole tit for tat. I know we started on his daughter, Teresa. She's an idiot too. She's a bigger idiot. If they really wanted to make this book work without changing as much as possible, it should have been very clear that Winston Duarte is changing because of the proto-molecule. It should have been very clear that he's turning crazy. He's turning into a lunatic. Then perhaps Trejo and some people try and do a coup d'etat, like, and get him out of power because he's going crazy. And that would explain why Teresa has to flee. Because she's Winston Duarte's daughter. He gets coup d'etat. He's put in prison, whatever. He goes like proto-molecule crazy. Starts killing people. She runs away. That's what should have happened. Instead of what we get is just him doing tit for tat and turning into a total idiot. I'm a brain drooling moron. Yeah. Stupid book. Just absolutely stupid. Don't get me started on Tiamat's Wrath. My God. Okay. Last but not least, because this has been going on for long enough already, is Leviathan Falls. This is C tier. I don't think this book is as bad as some of the others, but this is the final book in a series called Expanse. When I think of Expanse, I think of something that's big, a massive space. And the last book of a series called Expanse, a multi-book series with multiple arcs, ends in a chase book with one character named Tanaka chasing down a ship. That's where this book ends, or this book series ends. It's a chase book. You might be saying, oh man, well, but the ending's big, and I would tell you, no, it's not. This book is small. It's a chase book. There's no politics here. It's just Tanaka chasing down the Rocinante, and then at the end they close the gates. It doesn't get big. Stay small. And I guess that would be and sort of finish this off, this would be my whole problem with The Expanse, is it never gets expansive. aside from Babylon's Ashes and Nemesis Games Kaladin's War, all the books are sort of small. Books that should be massive, galaxy spanning romps, turn into little tiny adventures with a couple of characters inhabiting small spaces. It doesn't get big. For a book series where humanity goes and finds 1,300 planets to explore, the books are shockingly small. They're very unambitious. I think that the authors didn't expect this to get so big, so they kind of had to make arcs as they went, which is fine. But I would really like a sci-fi series. It starts out small, like Leviathan Wakes, and gets massive. Gets ambitious. So, yeah, that's my personal opinion. Feel free to sound off in the comments, telling me if you agree with me or if I'm like Winston Duarte drooling because I'm an idiot. Yeah. All right. Thank you. This is Alex Bucky 142 signing off. Have a great rest of your day, y'all.